Hey everyone, what's going on? Nexius here, back in Dalaran for the guide because Frapp screws up in the order hall for some reason, which really sucks. I like the order hall. But anyway, this is going to be a PVE dungeon guide. So this is pretty much the same as raiding, but I do want to go in depth with basically dungeons. So this is basically going to be for PVE in general, dungeons and raids. So with the talent guide, it's pretty simple. When it comes down to here, you want Chi Wave. It just gives the most damage. It's got the low cooldown. It's an extra ability for hit combo and also to keep mastery active. So overall, it has a lot of use out of it compared to the other two. However, if you are doing dungeons or there's a lot of mobs to kill with AoE, Chi Burst is also a very good effect. For example, if you're doing Il'gynoth in Emerald Nightmare, you have to kill a lot of those what do you call them? Those little slimes or whatever. You have to kill a lot of them at the same time. So Chi Burst can be useful there, but you can still stick with Chi Wave. Chi Burst is only good in AoE situations. I think when we get later down into the expansion, when Heroics and Mythics become a lot easier and farmable, and the tanks can pull a lot more mobs, Chi Burst might become a better contender compared to Chi Wave since you will be hitting multiple targets. But until then, for single target basically, or even a couple mobs, I think overall Chi Wave is the best choice. I don't plan on using Chi Burst for a while, so Chi Wave is really only good, Chi Wave is good most of the time, Chi Burst in very rare cases, so I do recommend that. Like I said, it does help with hit combo and the mastery. Now, in terms of the 30 tier, I mean, it's just mobility for a PvP scenario. It really doesn't mean that much depending on what you go, but I still choose Tiger's Lust because if you are doing a raid or a dungeon, you can throw this on the healer or the tank. If they're struggling to get out of a mechanic, for example there's fire and they're too slow or something, or let's take the last boss in Blackrock Hold when you're facing Kurtalos Ravencrest, when he does that purple line of bad stuff, some people are a little bit slow, so if you use Tiger's Lust on them, you can get them out of that. There's a lot of scenarios where you can save teammates or help them out, so that's why I like Tiger's Lust over the other three. It's also really good for you if you get rooted by any kind of mechanic. A good example would be Cenarius in Emerald Nightmare. The brambles on the ground, you might accidentally run through one. You can actually clear that with Tiger's Lust, which will prevent a lot of damage. It will also help you clear some of it. So overall, Tiger's Lust, it just has a lot of utility compared to the other two talents. So Tiger's Lust and Chi Wave. Now, in terms of the next tier, this one is between Power Strikes and Energizing Elixir. It really doesn't matter what one you go, but I personally prefer Energizing Elixir. When it comes to dungeons, I do prefer it because if a bunch of mobs do get pulled, I can use the Energizing Elixir to completely refill energy and chi, which is very valuable if you are doing Spinning Crane Kick for AoE. So I do really like it for those trash pulls where there's a lot of mobs. It makes it a lot easier to build up your Cyclone Strikes, which is going to be affected for your Spinning Crane Kick. Let's show it over here. Where is it? Spinning Crane Kick's damage is increased by 50% for each target you hit by Blackout Kick, Rising Sun Kick, or Tiger Palm. So by having full energy and chi, you can get your Tiger Palms and stuff out much quicker. So it just helps with that burst AoE now that Strike of the Windlord has been nerfed. But Power Strikes is a lot easier and it's still good as well. So if you do prefer Power Strikes, that's perfectly fine. I do personally prefer Energizing Elixir though. It has a lot more uses, at least in dungeons. For raiding, I think either one is fine. So it's up to you there. For the 60 tier, Leg Sweep is definitely going to be the best. Slowing a PvE target really doesn't matter. Knocking back a target really doesn't matter. If anything, it would be very annoying for the tank and the rest of the group. So I think Leg Sweep is just by far the best, especially in dungeons. You can stun a bunch of trash. If the tank is pulling a lot of trash, you can stun them for 5 seconds. That allows the tank and healer to catch up. It allows the DPS to get free damage in. It stops casts, everything. So I think Leg Sweep is just a lot better. With the stun effects, raid-wise, you can't really stun a whole lot. Most things are immune to stuns, but that doesn't change the fact the other two just don't really serve any purpose. So on the rare case that you can stun something, Leg Sweep is really nice. A good example here would be what's that one fight, Xavius in Emerald Nightmare. He spawns a lot of stuff that will come to him, and to slow them down, you want to either slow them, root them, or in this case, stun them. So there are some cases where Leg Sweep can be very useful. So I do recommend Leg Sweep overall, especially in dungeons. For the next tier, Diffuse Magic and Damage Harm don't really do a whole lot. Healing Elixir gives the most value. You'll always get a lot of healing out of it. It will instantly proc when you drop below 35% health. It's just really good in most cases. The only time, like rare occasion where you might want something like Diffuse Magic is if you know you're going to take a huge spike in damage in some case. I can't think of a fight right now that that would really make Diffuse Magic better than Healing Elixir. I just think Healing Elixir is 10 times better in most cases. I mean, if you need Diffuse Magic, you already have Karma to absorb that damage anyway, if you know it's coming. I just feel like Healing Elixir is a lot better. More healing, more value, just from any kind of attack, any kind of AoE, any kind of mechanic. I just think it's a lot better. The cooldown is also much shorter, 15% health every 30 seconds versus a 60% reduction every 2 minutes. I just feel like Healing Elixir is a lot more valuable. For the 90 tier, I know a lot of people really like Rushing Jade Wind. I can see it being valuable if, same way as Chi Burst, if a lot of stuff is getting pulled, I can see Rushing Jade Wind being very nice. But we already do have Spinning Crane Kick, and hit combo is just way too good, like way too good. 2% damage increase, stacking up to 8 times, that's 16% damage. In PvE, it's really hard, or not really hard, it's really easy to keep active. So if you can keep it active, which it's really easy to do, 16% damage on everything is a huge increase between single target, AoE, every situation. It's just way too valuable compared to the other two choices, but like I said, if you are pulling a lot of trash in Heroics or something, Rushing Jadewind can be better, depending, but I still think that hit combo is better in that case because you can Spinning Crane Kick and everything with a 16% damage increase. For the final tier, Chi Orbit is terrible, just ignore that. Serenity can be better than Storm, Earth, and Fire if you know how to use it, but it's really hard to use, and because it's so hard to use, and on top of that, it doesn't even give you a huge increase compared to Ceph. You can get the same amount of value out of Serenity than you can with Dragon Punch, and Dragon Punch is a lot easier to use. On top of that, Dragon Punch has a lot of AoE utility to it. Serenity, for example, you would only use it like on specific trash pulls and on boss fights, but with Dragon Punch, you can use it in everything during the dungeon or the raid. You can use it on every trash pull, you can use it on every boss fight multiple times. It's just really valuable, and it's really good for that AoE cleave, which is quite valuable when it comes to dungeons, especially with keystones, because you want to cleave down mobs, and this is a good way to save time by cleaving down mobs. So overall, Whirling Dragon Punch, in my opinion, is way better than Serenity. But technically, if you know how to use Serenity, it can be a little bit better. But honestly, Dragon Punch is a lot safer. It's less risky. You have to know what you're doing with Serenity. So overall, I think Dragon Punch is just a lot more valuable. Keep in mind, this is for PvE, not PvP. And in PvE, Storm, Earth, and Fire always hits your targets. There are a few cases where Fist of Fury does mess up. But compared to PvP, Storm, Earth, and Fire is perfectly fine in most cases for PvE, so you can afford to go Whirling Dragon Punch if you prefer. So that's a really easy talent guide. I will come out with a video soon discussing rotations and when you want to use something in PvE, but for this video, it's specifically a talent guide. We're going to keep it simple that way. When it comes to enchants, I never really cover this in PvP because enchants don't matter, but when it comes to raiding and dungeons, for enchants, I can cover this because they do work in PvE. So what you want to do here is you want to get 150 agility on your cloak. As you can see there, I do have 150 agility. When it comes to your rings, you want 150 mastery. Mastery is by far the best stat, so you do want to stack as much mastery as you can. As you can see here, I have like 734 mastery, 1100, almost 1200 mastery there. You can take a look here. My mastery is 43%, so all of my abilities will deal 43% more damage. That's like half of a critical strike every time, as long as you are using different abilities. Then you throw in your hit combo, which is another 16%. You can do a lot of damage. Haste doesn't give us a whole lot, and critical strike and versatility are a little bit worse than mastery, but they are still quite valuable. So you can see here that I'm stacking versatility and mastery together on most of my items. If you get critical strike mastery, that's good as well. Just make sure that the items do have mastery. So the stat priority here is agility number 1. So as you can see here, my trinkets have agility. So agility is number 1. So you want to make sure you can get agility or mastery. Better if you can get both, like this one here. Agility is number 1. Then you want mastery. Then you want critical strike or versatility. They are both pretty much the same, so as long as you get one of those, that's good. And haste is dead last. It doesn't give us a whole lot of value. It does do a lot for us, like it increases attack speed, it increases energy regeneration, it reduces the cooldown on a lot of our abilities, but the amount that it does that effect, it's not a whole lot. You have to stack a lot of haste for that, and it's not really worth it. You'll get a lot more value out of mastery crit or mastery versatility. So overall, I do recommend mastery number 1, crit versatility number 2, either one is good, and then haste last. Now that's in terms of the stats. So continuing on with the enchants, I think that's pretty much it besides necklace. Now I know a lot of people are wondering what you want for neck. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. A lot of people are saying hidden satyr, which will allow you to proc damage all the time. I've seen some people with Mastery, but I do think Hidden Satyr is the best one. I haven't grabbed an enchant yet because I'm cheap as fuck, and I just prefer to make enchants myself and sell them on the auction house, so I'd rather make gold than use one myself. I really should throw an enchant on here, though, to be honest, which I might do later, but I'm pretty sure Hidden Satyr is number 1. This is what I'm seeing most people using. I don't know if it's going to change anytime soon, but when last time I looked, a lot of people were using Hidden Satyr. Last time I looked at a guide, I saw Hidden Satyr, so it seems to be number 1. You can, I think, get Mastery on it, but I'm pretty sure that Hidden Satyr is the best. In terms of your shoulder, I'm using, like, honestly, shoulder doesn't matter. Shoulder doesn't give you an actual DPS boost, it just gives you extra loot. I'm actually using Blood Hunter, which you get from the Quartermaster of the Wardens. Let's quickly go check that right now. Factions, Legion, the Wardens, Blood Hunter, here it is. Permanently enchant shoulders with the Blood Hunter enchantment, which allows the wearer to obtain Blood Hunter's quarry bags from the corpses of their enemies. Now, when you open these up, it will give you Blood of Sargeras. Now, the reason why I'm using the boon, even though honestly, it doesn't even belong in this guide, because it really doesn't matter what you choose to use as a shoulder enchant, but I figured I would throw this in anyway, since I'm talking about enchants. I'm using Blood Hunter because in 7.1, a vendor is going to come out, and that vendor will sell you crafting materials, enchant mats, herbalism mats, flowers, whatever, mining mats, all that different stuff. The vendor will trade any kind of crafting material for Blood of Sargeras. So what I'm doing here is I'm planning ahead. When 7.1 comes out, I will have a lot of Blood of Sargeras to trade in, and then I can make gold off it, or I can level up my engineering and enchanting. So that's why I have Blood Hunter. But depending on what profession you are, you might want something else. So if you're tailoring, you might want the one that gives you cloth. If you're enchanting, you might want the one that gives you enchanting mats. It's really up to you. But I'm using Blood Hunter because I don't really need anything at the moment, and I can buy whatever I want with the Blood of Sargeras. They're pretty easy to come across, so I can get a lot of materials that way anyway. So I feel that Blood Hunter is the best choice, but you can really go whatever you want until you get it, or you can just stick with whatever you want anyway. So we did cover stat priority, we did cover the talents, and we did cover the enchants. I'm pretty sure we covered everything. Oh, sockets. So I do have a couple gem sockets here, like a prismatic socket. You can put anything you want in here. There are 2 kinds of gems that you want. The first one is an agility gem. So let's see if it shows it here in Atlas Loot. Crafting, where's jewel crafting? Jewel crafting, Legion, Bop gems. I don't know if this is it. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Wait, Misapendar. Oh, it doesn't have Legion in here. Okay. Let's go back to jewel crafting. Legion. Okay, here we go. So we have a Saber's Eye of Agility. So 200 agility, you want one of this. You can only have one, and agility is the best stat. So you want agility in one of your sockets. Now, if you get more than one socket, the next thing you want is mastery. So I don't know what the best mastery is one, but we have a mastery gem. I don't know what one is the best. I think there's a 300 mastery or something. Either way, just make sure your gem sockets are mastery, except for the one that you want to make sure you have agility in. Now, these are expensive, and I'm cheap as fuck, and I don't really PvE that much, so I'm not going to buy them just yet. But when I do, that's definitely the best stat, because agility and mastery are the top 2 stat priorities that you want. You want to make sure you have one socket with this 200 agility gem, and then the rest will have mastery. So that's basically what you want to do here. Stack mastery, and your second stat will be versatility or critical strike. Personally, I went with versatility because of PvP reasons. When I'm out in the world PvP and I'm like doing 1v2s and stuff, versatility gives me damage reduction. It also gives me healing, and of course a damage increase as well. But critical strike can also increase your damage as well. Honestly, versatility is just as good in PvE as well. So mastery, versatility, or critical strike, both are just as good at the same rank or same status as each other. So as long as you get mastery crit or mastery versatility, PvE or PvP, it's fine. Now keep in mind, in instanced PvP, gear doesn't really matter. Only the item level does. So what stats are on your gear really doesn't matter. The special effect equipped bonuses on trinkets and stuff, those don't work in PvP, and that's pretty much it. So whatever you go here, it's really focused on world PvP, dueling, and PvE. So that's what I pretty much recommend. If you guys have any questions regarding this guide, or you want to leave a comment, don't be afraid to. I always respond. I'll try to answer as best as I can. This is the guide for PvE, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.